Hello? Hello? What is going on? Oh, mobile stream, dude? Come on. This is stupid. I don't know where we're at, guys. Sorry. My bad. Somehow I messed this up. I'm live right now. I don't know why where the frick is my live, dude? There we go. All right. Oh, you guys can see the eye tracking. There we go. Is that better? There we go. All right. What do we name this one? What do we want to talk about? What do we want to talk about? I think we're going to talk about root cause of POTS. I'm going to eat while on here. And I'm also shirtless because this room is really freaking hot. And I just got done at the gym. I just got done working out. It's freaking like 90 degrees outside. Let me show you. It's like 90. 87. Humidity through the roof. UV index at 8. Wow, I should really be out there tanning. 60%. 60% humidity. This is ridiculous, man. This is ridiculous, dog. '60 is bad when you're doing Metcons in a hot gym with no AC. I can't breathe. It's freaking choking on water, dude. Choking on freaking water, dude. It's disgusting. This live is going to be a little bit more chill. Unless I get fired up talking about this. I got a DM that actually inspired this one. Can you guys still hear me? Where's my headphone freaking thing? It's right here. It's right here. There we go. All right, so I got a DM that inspired this. And there's been some not client issues lately, but I've had a decent amount of newly onboarded clients. And I've had some stuff pop up that I think is worth talking about. You guys, check this out. A bug may have impacted your... Okay, who cares? 988. We got 12 to go. Right now, I'm filming a day in the life with POTS because YouTube Studio informed me that this is a hot button topic. So I should probably have recorded me eating. But I didn't. And what I was about to eat. But I didn't. All right. Let's get into it. So I got this DM that said, I respect the DM. The DM's great. I'm actually appreciative that he sent me this, but it made me kind of think about some concerns that I have with the POTS community. And it's I don't even remember, so maybe you guys can help me out, because I genuinely do not remember what like what video or what live this is from. But he goes, "Hey boss, just saw your video on your POTS. You addressed it in your video, but I'm not sure how much of the concept you're grasping. POTS can be created from autoimmune issues, but those issues are usually started from MCAS and gut issues such as SIBO, parasites, etc., which can be healed. Sorry if you know this already, just thought it could help." And then so my response was, "Hey brother, thanks for reaching out. I appreciate the input. I've definitely seen this in many clients, but it hasn't been the majority. MSAS is a relatively new concept for people with POTS. It has become very popularized for a good reason, but it's not a new concept in general. A lot of this does come down to histamine issues and methylation for some people, but there's so many other variables for most people." And so it kind of brings me down to this, like, this whole idea. Okay, so let me take a bite. Okay. How sweet it is to have beef, rice, cheese, and honey. One more bite, and then I'll get into it. Let's go. It brings me to this issue of people that have POTS, right? People that have POTS, or parents of kids that have POTS or whatever, and how they always assume that everybody's going through the same thing. And people with POTS almost, like, look, I'm going to talk in generalities here, generalizations. I'm not going to talk about, individual people and concepts, ideas. I'm going to talk about in general. So excuse me for my language. In general, people with POTS don't really want to get to the root. They don't want to figure it out themselves. They want to go based off of what other people have done in order to get better. They want to go off of what vitamins and supplements other people are doing so that they can get better. They want the shortcut. And more times than not, people always want to chalk it up to like one thing. My daughter has the MTHFR variant, so your daughter must have the MTHFR variant. And that means that this. My experience with my POTS is that I have MSAS, and that means that you also have MSAS. I deal with SIBO, so you must have SIBO. I had a parasite. So based off of what you're telling me, you have, a parasite. All this like super nonsensical types of thinking, right? I feel like a lot of people fall into the trap of this. Worked for me, so it will work for everyone. That's exactly what I'm getting to. Yeah, thank you, Jazan. And the problem with this is that you can waste so much time trying out other people's methods and never figuring out what is actually the root issue for you, right? So this is why I'm so heavy on, for at least 1 week, make no changes to what you're doing. Do all the crappy diet that you have been eating. Do all of the workout stuff that you have been doing. Keep your hydration the same. Keep your electrolyte consumption the same. And take notes of everything. Journal everything. Journal your bowel movements if you have to. But the problem is that so many people want to chalk it up to just simple answers. And it's not simple. Chronic illness for anyone is just not simple. I know that sometimes you may watch my stream and I make it seem simple. The reason why I do that is because at the end of the day, I want you guys to be empowered. I want you to take responsibility into your own hands. I want you to feel like you can handle this, because you can. But the reality of the situation is it's not simple. There are steps that everyone can take that do prove to have, positive effects on POTS. Like getting activity in, hydration, doing all that. But guess what? Those are all things that benefit every single chronic illness, that benefit every single type of deadly illness, that, benefit your longevity in general. So those are the simple answers. The real answers are not simple answers, but the simple things that you can do to take steps forward. The real answers come from you doing the deep work, right? It's like therapy. When people talk about how therapy works, it doesn't work just because you go to therapy, right? It works because you have to do the stuff outside of therapy in order to feel the effects of therapy. We're not going to get into the whole masculinity talk again today. I'm just using things as examples, right? So people get so stuck into, it was MSAS for this person, it's MSAS for me. I feel like I have food intolerance, but the problem is with all these different variables, MTHFR, COMT, MSAS, fibromyalgia, all these like chronic illnesses, right? They all have similar symptomology. That doesn't mean that that's what you're going through. So the issue and the thing that you have to do is you have to track everything for yourself. You have to figure this stuff out. You can't just be like, man, that person has really close symptoms to the MTHFR gene mutation. So they must have MTHFR. It's like, dude, what the frick are you talking about? It's so stupid. Like, you guys, some people are just so freaking stupid. And I don't mean to be like condescending or anything like that, but just use your brain, dude. Use your brain. For once, use your brain, right? It's like the other day, my son asked me, Daddy, who do you want to be president? I tell him who I want to be president, right? And then he goes, well, we want this person, like his mom and Taylor and his mom and her boyfriend or whatever. I'm like, no, son, you don't want anything. You guys don't want anything. You use this thing here, gather the information, use this and make your own decision. It's like this group think. Like some people are just so freaking stupid and not willing to do the work, not willing to take the steps necessary to figure out what is wrong with you and what's going to work for you. Like, do the work. Just do the work. It's not that hard. Don't listen to other people. Don't listen to idiots. Hey, guess what? If you have a gene, I think it's about 80% of the population has a MTHFR gene mutation. I think so. Fact check me, whatever. It's a large percentage of the population that has a mutation for MTHFR. But guess what? That doesn't mean that it's manifesting any symptoms in your life. It's crazy. That's absolutely insane, isn't it? Who would have thought? But some people just want to fearmonger. That's the thing. Some people don't want to empower. Some people just want you to have the easy answer, the thing that worked for them. Health is so individual. There are generalities that we can go off of. We can be like, hey, you should drink water. That's probably in general a good idea. Hey, you should eat leafy greens. And if you do have an MTHFR gene mutation, that doesn't mean that it's acting out. But if you do have that, you should probably eat leafy greens. You should probably have cruciferous vegetables. You should probably, be very cognizant of the foods that you're eating in terms of, do they have B vitamin, like a large amount of B vitamins, especially methylfolate. Yeah. Should you be thinking about this stuff? Sure. It should be in the back of your head. But that doesn't mean that if you're not doing that stuff, that it's acting out. It just doesn't. What are your stress levels like and how can you decrease them? What is your sleep like and how can you improve it? What is your activity level? Are you exercising too much? Are you exercising too intensely? Are you not taking enough recovery or doing the right things in terms of recovery? Sleep, eating, hydration, all these things. Are you in a shitty relationship with somebody? Like, do you not, there's so many things that feed into this stuff that people are just too dense to think about because they want the answer. They want the root cause. What is it? And then they take advice from other people. And there's some, it's not to say that you shouldn't be empowered with the information, but sometimes too much information can disempower you and make you feel helpless. You should just start doing the things. Start taking note. Journal your symptoms. Journal the things that make you feel bad. I mean, dude, it's really not that hard. It's harder for you guys. It's really not that hard. It's just not that hard. I just get so upset over this because it's like so many people will just get paralysis by analysis because they're just constantly trying to find the way. They're just constantly trying to find the one thing, but they'll never even start. So it's like, what's the point? Why are you even asking the questions if you're never even going to start? Casey, didn't know you were preaching today. Go off, sir. Thanks, Casey. Jazan, for real. Dude, it's like this groupthink that just really pisses me off. It's like people, it's almost like people just don't have critical thinking skills, right? Like, where did that go? Like, that Gary Brecka guy who's pimping and touting out the MTHFR, COMT, DAO, all these like different gene mutations or whatever. And then everybody thinks that they have these mutations, they need to supplement for them so they can support them. It's like, dude, just because you have these gene mutations doesn't mean that like anything is happening, dude. It doesn't mean that anything is going on. Just because you have a lineage of people that have some sort of cancer does not mean that you are going to get it. Do you have a higher percentage? Yeah. So because you have the higher chance of developing these things, live healthy, do the necessary things. It all goes out the window when they're in a state of panic. Absolutely, 100%. I also think, and this isn't going to seem super empathetic or kind or sympathetic, I also think some people just need a reason. They just want a reason to be a victim. They want a reason for people to feel bad for them. Chew your food, Justin. Chew your food. Can't choke on live. The other portion of this thing, right? I will often say with clients, dude, I'm so sweaty still. I'm sorry. If you didn't catch the beginning of this, I just got done working out in the 90-degree weather outside. 60% humidity. Just absolutely covered in sweat. That's why I'm like with no clothes on. Besides my shorts, I'm still so sweaty. And this room is not AC'd. The other portion of this, I often say to clients or even people that just reach out, I say, don't get too many cooks in the kitchen, right? And so what I mean by that is I think it's okay to get a bunch of opinions from people. I think it's okay to hear different, different thoughts and things of that nature. But if there's too many cooks in the kitchen, if you're trying too many things, if you're changing your diet immediately, you're changing, like, if you don't do any of the due diligence, you don't track, you don't check out what exercises mess with your symptoms, if you don't, keep track of your sleep, if you don't do all the things that you should be doing, and you just start making switches immediately, and you start to feel better, or if you start to feel worse, you'll never know what the things are that are benefiting you or making you worse if you just make a bunch of changes right away. Or if you don't stick to things for long enough, you will never know. And that's an issue because then you really don't know how to approach things. You really don't know how to change things because eventually things will taper off. You will not hold all these habits for the rest of your life. It's dang near impossible that some of this stuff will just last forever. It's almost impossible, right? Like you will probably switch exercise modalities at some point because you'll get bored. You will probably start eating crappy food again at some point because, you're like, well, I can handle it. You will probably start doing whatever, like something else. You will make changes. You will make changes to what your current routine is at some point. But without the information, you might make a bad change and not know. It is what it is. Can someone enlighten me, too, on the tattoo thing? I've had a few people ask me recently about tattoos and if I noticed anything when I got all my tattoos, you know, symptoms and stuff like that. Can somebody enlighten me? Because I know personally what I would think could happen with tattoos, but why has this just become randomly popular? If you don't know, I have this. I have this. I've got this stuff all over my forearm. I've got this. And I've got this. And I've got this. I'm hungry. That didn't do it for me. That didn't do it for me. Friend, it's almost been 1 year since you started training me when I could barely do a bodyweight lunge in the living room. And now you're crushing fitness. And now you're crushing it. That's amazing. I'm super proud of you and your progress. Working with you is a pleasure. Yeah, I remember those days. And then you started doing handstand push-ups. You were doing great. I only know that MSAS can mess with the healing. Casey, how did your recovery go? Casey's recovery, in my opinion, went super well. And I'll let her answer, but I think she listened. Casey was a person that actually listened. She didn't make excuses. She was super honest with me about everything, and she listened to the changes that I asked her to do. She was very, 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 very good. Very diligent. Yeah, so the thing that I have like I had for some reason 2 people 2 weeks ago asked me about tattoos. And 2 people asked me about tattoos and they were like, did you like notice any exacerbating symptoms or did you get symptoms after tattoos? I was like, no, why? And nobody gave me an answer. And I was like, the only thing that I can think of is the heavy metal toxicity because a lot of inks have heavy metals in it. But I haven't noticed anything from tattoos. From the lead. Yeah, basically. Yeah, from the heavy metals in it. But I didn't notice anything from tattoos. And I really like tattoos. So I don't... And the only reason why I bring this up now is because I think that people get so scared of like everything when they have POTS. Like everything scares people with POTS, and it's sad. And I don't know what else to say about that besides like you just kind of have to face it sometimes. You have to face your fears. Casey, yeah, I just did what Justin told me to do, and if I didn't want to do something, I just cried and then did it anyway. It was fine. Yeah, that's facts. That's facts. Casey is a really good example of like pushing your boundaries and getting out of your comfort zone. I remember getting on a call with her often, because we would do calls about every single week until the end. And a lot of times she'd be like, I really didn't want to do this, but I ended up doing it anyway. And I proved to myself that I was fine. And she worked her way like through a bunch of stuff and she did really well. She even started doing like CrossFit style workouts pretty quickly, actually. So she did super well. She did very good. Only a year? Really? It's only a year ago? That's crazy. Wow. 10 months. That's wild. I'm going to I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret about me. I was nervous yesterday to work out for like the first time in a very long time. I was very nervous. It was the first 90-degree day. Not so much because of pots. I was nervous yesterday. It was the first 90-degree day that we've had. I think it was around 70% humidity. I had to work out, and then I got interrupted by client calls. Not like interrupted, but like I had to interrupt my workout for client calls. So I had to split up my workout. And then in the afternoon, when it got the most hot, I had to run 6K. So like 4.5 miles or something total. And I was crawling out of my skin, uncomfortable from the heat. Crawling out of my skin. Like I started to get like goosebumps and stuff. Like I was almost like feeling cold at one point, from how overheated I was. It was insane. And I was nervous beforehand, and I felt really good after the first 3K because it was 1K intervals. So I had to do 3 1K intervals, split up by 2 minutes. Rest is needed, and I think I rested like 7 minutes, and then 3 more of those. And by the 4th one or 5th one, I was like crawling out of my skin. I was yelling after the 1K, and I thought to myself, like, you don't have to do this. Like, you don't have to go balls to the wall and do 6K, because she said between 4 and 6K, my coach. And I was like, but because I'm having this thought of like, you don't have to do it, that means that I gotta do it. That means that I gotta do it. I gotta beat the pussy out of me, and so I did it. And how I think that you guys could translate that into no matter where you're at, no matter where you're at in your fitness or where you're at in your POTS journey. I think the way that you guys can translate what I did yesterday and that type of lesson into your life is that you could take a look at the things that maybe you're scared to do that aren't actually going to affect you objectively, right? Because a lot of times subjectively, people with POTS are like, oh, I'm scared of this because this is, blah, 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 it makes me nervous, da, 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 and then they never end up doing it. I think that a lot of times you get paralysis by analysis. So I think that the way you guys can do, what you guys can take from that is challenging yourself in doing a little bit more. Or like if you feel a little bit too fatigued, you can go ahead and do the workout that even though you feel a little bit fatigued, or if you feel tired or whatever, get out of bed. Like all these things, right? There's so many things that people with POTS are told not to do for the sake of, being better and hopefully not overdoing it or whatever, that I think if you never try to push the boundary, if you never try to push the limit, you're never going to know where your limit actually stands. I got a new tripod for my desk, a new desk tripod. I'm waiting for it to come in. It's going to be a taller angle, which will be sweet. Taller angle for live streams. Oh yeah, friend, you want help moving into your place? You want help moving into your house? Huh? You do? I don't think so. How is everybody's journey with POTS going right now? And what is the most challenging thing for you guys? Like objectively, what's the most challenging thing? I'll wait. Well, did you see my post this morning? I did not. I was very busy this morning. What was it? Ooh, looks like my tripod just got delivered. I'll look. Can I read it out loud, Jazan? This is from our POTS Forum community. She said yes, so I'm going to read it out loud. She posted this in the POTS Forum community. If you're not a part of that, go hit that link in the description. I'm going to stop with the 2 free weeks now. The 2 free weeks is over. I'm going to make it 1 free week now because it's been 2 free weeks for the past month. Or no, 6 weeks, 5 weeks. 5 weeks it's been, because that's when it started 5 weeks ago. It's been 2 free weeks. No, 6 weeks ago. It's been 2 free weeks and 6 weeks ago. And yeah, so we are going to start making it 1 free week. Yeah. I'm doing 75 hard right now. So honestly, the most challenging thing is still just pushing through the mental blocks of what I went through in the past, even though I'm nowhere near that anymore. Yeah, 75 hard is rough. I did 75 hard a while back, 2 years ago, I think. It seems like you're getting up early to do your walks, though, and that's a really good strategy. So you can get outside before the intense heat of where you live and get the walk out of the way for 45 minutes. 75 hard is dope. Casey, you're strong. Your mindset's great. You're able to push past your boundaries. So just continue going on. The hardest part for 75 hard for me was time management. Time management was the worst thing. Like I didn't have enough time in the day, but I was so busy at that point too. We would literally be doing sometimes our 45-minute walk in negative 15-degree weather, bundled up at 9:30 p.m., 9:30 at night. My hardest symptom is extreme. Ow, 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 ow. All the cramps. Ow. Hamstring and lower ab cramp. That was not cool. That was not cool. All right. After I read Jazan's comment, I'm going to... Oh, my gosh, dude. That was not cool. I'm going to read her post in the POTS forum. For me, the most challenging thing is trying to not work out and walk too much. My muscles start to I can't. Why do they have this stupid heart? Like, start to sour from simple movements now. So I think I have to do a little less strength training. Jazan, what I think you should do is probably build up your exercise tolerance a little bit more. So if you're starting to get fatigued or sore from, I gotta find a good way to itch my ankle now so I don't cramp up again. Your volumes might be a little bit too high for where you need to be right now. So for example, if you are doing 4 sets of 10 on a leg curl or something like that, you might have to start with 2 sets of 10 somewhat intensely and then build up. So either add reps per week or then add sets, add reps 1 week. So then it's 2 sets of 12. And then the next week you go 2 sets of 15. That third week you'd go 3 sets of 10 then. So just that the overall volume is constantly climbing somehow. Now let's read Jazan's post. If you're not a part of the POTS forum, today is going to be the last day to get in 2 free weeks. After that, I'm changing it to 1 free week, but get in there. It's a positive forum. You get a workout program. You get a bunch of resources to learn how to tolerate heat, hydration strategies, nutrition strategies, all that stuff. And you get a positive community of people. I think community is super important when it comes to chronic illness, especially people who are positive and want to help lift you up as well as you lift them up. So anyway, this morning I woke up really exhausted, but I had pace and slept fine till 6 a.m. I ate something tasty for dinner, so consequences and stuff. So I decided to just push hard and do my morning exercises anyway. And what do you know? It actually lifted the fatigue, and that gives me a ton of hope and lifted my mood a bunch as well. Haha, let's go. Remember, we talked about this a couple lives ago. Questions for you all. What is your favorite way to get your salt in? Mine is 2 times 1 milligram salt tablets. 1 milligram or 1 gram? Salt with potassium, aka low salt on my bread. because as a Dutchy, bread is my breakfast and lunch, and 500 milliliter Nord Code electrolytes, Europe's element. I also love mashed potatoes with salt, baked potatoes with salt, fried chips, whatever. Potatoes always make me feel better. Are potatoes big in the Netherlands? This morning, I woke up really exhausted. Yeah, so I told you that adding movement would help with that fatigue, Jazan. See? Getting movement in, making sure that you stay active, making sure, and not like incredibly active, but like active, getting some activity in. It helps. It doesn't add to the problem, it helps. Yes, and you are right, and I'm very happy about it. Haha. See, that is what every man wants to hear. You're right. I'm just kidding. It's yeah, it just, to me, it like makes sense, right? That getting active and moving would help your situation, would help anybody's situation with POTS. Get the blood moving. It always helps me. Yes. My new tripod is here, guys. I'm not going to go outside and grab it, but it's here. Balance between enough time for recovery, working, family life with 2 kids, specifically with unexpected sickness. Currently working 50%, but not sure how long. Dude, come on. This stupid heart. How long I will be able to work 50%. Balance between enough time for kids, recovery, working, family life with 2 kids, specifically with unexpected sickness. Yeah, I think that, there's seasons in life, right, where we're not going to have balance. And that's just as simple as it is. As simple of an answer that I can give. There are some seasons in life where you just will not have balance, and you got to prioritize certain things over others. And, it sounds bad, but it is what it is. There's just, it just is what it is, like that, I had a client, I don't want to tell that story, actually. I've dealt with a lot of clients lately. I'm convinced on something, and I know that I brought this up in a different live, but I'm convinced of something lately. The more that I listen to people with POTS, the more I'm convinced that a lot of people are having, like, I don't know how to say it, and people are not going to like this because I'm going to sound like one of your gaslighting doctors, I guess. It's not that I don't think people aren't having POTS symptoms or like weird symptoms, but the more people that I talk to with POTS, it seems like they're having mental health issues, like more mental health issues than they are actual POTS symptoms. Well, it turns out sometimes my fatigue is from not enough potassium or salt, so it's not always movement. Yeah, for sure. I would probably tend to agree with that. However, that's not exclusive to POTS. Unpopular opinion. Most people in general have fatigue because they are low on electrolytes. Before POTS, or not before POTS, after POTS, but we don't need to give the timeline. I have for a long time thought that electrolytes are one of the most underrated supplements for everyone in life. Everyone talks about creatine. Everybody talks about, vitamin D. I think that electrolytes are one of the most underrated nutrient supplements that you can be taking for anyone, for anybody. So Just say it, mijo. Just say it, mijo. I've been doing Duolingo. I'm trying to get fluent in Spanish again. I've been doing Duolingo. I'm on a 16-day streak. 16-day, right? Yep, 16 days. Look, I have the little widget. Whoa, you guys are lucky. You only see 21 missed text messages. I got one of these under the desk bike so I can do some leg movements. It helps because I sit most of the time at the computer. Nice. Betty, the other thing that I would say is that you really should get actual steps in too. So what I tell a lot of clients to do is to set a timer for every like 30 minutes to an hour. Get up and do about 5 minutes of walking if you can. 2 to 5 minutes of walking. I think that that's really important and it goes a very long way. Casey, facts. I think you're saying facts to the mental health thing. The mental health thing, genuinely, I'm not saying that people don't have an issue with POTS and that they're not getting POTS-like symptoms or whatever it is. But I think that a lot of POTS, POTS does not in the literature, right? It doesn't seem to be like super debilitating. And from a lot of the people that I've worked with, it doesn't seem to be the POTS that's super debilitating. It's the fear of what if this happens. That's usually the most debilitating. I've worked with some people that have had passing out episodes, but for the most part, passing out isn't necessarily like a POTS specific symptom. That's in dysautonomia, but for the most part, people with POTS, I don't see a lot of passing out. I hear the stories of people passing out and I hear the stories of people being scared of that, but it doesn't seem to be a super common symptom. Muy bien. Sí, muy bien. Soy felicísimo. Your suggestion to start the day with getting enough sodium electrolytes has helped me a lot. It really makes a difference. Yes, dope. That's awesome. I'm happy about that. That's one trick that I think that most people with POTS should start out the day with is I always start out the day with one of these. I think it's 46 ounces of water. Let's see. 46 ounces of water and 1,000 milligrams of sodium. To be honest with you, I found that the sweet spot is around 32 ounces of water with 1,000 milligrams of sodium. So an element packet, right? I found that has been the sweet spot. But for me, especially in the summer, I just need the extra water because I'm going to sweat just going outside. I've always been that way. Wasn't it a thing that people with mental health issues go over their energy boundaries and over-exhausted people are at risk of getting post-viral syndromes and POTS? Wasn't it a thing that people with mental health issues go over their energy boundaries and over-exhausted people are at risk of getting post-viral syndromes and POTS? Well, I think if somebody's overexhausted, that their immune system drops significantly, and they're definitely more susceptible to getting sick and probably having longer term, symptoms from that. The mental health thing, going over their energy boundaries, I don't know that that's a thing. There's a lot of woo-woo and pseudoscience in the mental health department of things. There's a lot of woo-woo and Instagram and TikTok doctors, right? And people who are saying things that are just like not backed by literature whatsoever. I don't know. I couldn't speak to that. I have like super extreme ADHD. I have suffered with anxiety, depression, OCD, PTSD, all this stuff because I've had a life. Let's just say that. And you know what? I can tell you the times that I felt worse were the days and the months that I sulked in my crap and I didn't take responsibility or accountability for anything. And I just slept all day and just wanted it to go away. Life was way worse and it was way less tolerable and way less manageable. When I started to be like, hey, dude, you got to have routine no matter what. And it's going to suck and it's uncomfortable, but you got to do stuff no matter what. When I started to approach it like that, things got significantly better and everything, lo and behold, way more manageable. I think that, mental health's a weird thing because it's one of those things that your brain will convince you that you can't do anything or that you shouldn't do anything. but you have to, right? And mental health is also a really weird thing in the sense that like, it's like, it's hard for me to kind of talk about this because I feel like I'm allowed to talk about this because I've gone through it. Mental health is one of those things that, you know, the serotonin thing has been debunked. The chemical imbalance thing has been debunked. And so it's like, are we conditioned to feel depressed? And are we conditioned that lulls in our mood? You know, are we conditioned to think that lulls in our mood is depression? And, you know, because if you guys look into the history of like extreme mental illness, right? A lot of it didn't start like creeping up until the 40s and the 50s. And like things like schizophrenia, bipolar syndrome and stuff, things of that nature specifically didn't really pop up until around that time. And maybe there just wasn't a diagnosis for it. But you didn't really see it talked about, you know, and there wasn't really literature behind it either. And so it's weird because I think that even like the smaller scale, well, not really smaller scale stuff, but like anxiety, depression, and all this stuff can be chalked up to a lot of things like nutrient deficiencies. So like, what vitamins are you lacking? And, you know, you can kind of trace back to the pharmaceutical industries exploding and the way that our crops have been dealt with and the way that our food has been contaminated and the soil being stripped and all these things that like in my brain, it makes a lot of sense that some of this mental health stuff can come from, you know, the fact that we don't have proper nutrients in our diet, that we don't have healthy lifestyles, that people are stuck on their screens, that people are more lazy than ever. Because even if you look at like World War II vets, right? A lot of them came back messed up, but it's like nothing like the people that we see now. You know, like our grandfathers were in World War II and they were G's, dude. Just straight G's. Like my grandpa was a gangster. You know, like I look up to that man more than anything, you know? And so is some of this stuff genetic, and could it have like, you know, could there be genetic implications and stuff? I think that could be definitely part of it, but how do you support your genes, right? That's through nutrition and lifestyle. Yeah. So, and there's this dude, there's this guy, his name is Dr. Chris Palmer, and he's doing a lot of research on mental illness and the ketogenic diet. And he's been able to put people with schizophrenia into remission. This isn't woo-woo pseudoscience. This is actual literature. It's published on PubMed. All these, you know, these like if you want to go pay to read the literature, to read the studies, whatever, or you can buy the book Brain Energy. He's a Harvard psychiatry scientist. So it's not like it's just random, right? And he has come up with the mitochondrial theory of mental illness, which is he believes that there is metabolic dysfunction that leads to a severe mental illness, i.e. depression, i.e. anxiety, schizophrenia, bipolar, name it, you know. And why would mitochondrial function be lacking? Lifestyle, diet, glucose. There's so many things, right? And even they've noticed that some medications, the reason why they work for mental illness has been shown that it's because it helps improve mitochondrial function. And yeah, dude, this is a big rabbit hole. And I think that a lot of this, I could go into like the conspiracy theories of what I think about all this stuff. I could go into the conspiracy theories. The other thing is that the consumption of inappropriate content or bad content, like the degenerate nature of our society in general, right? Like, let me just go off on a tangent real quick. We're gonna get a little bit conspiracy theorist. So you can trace in history the line of degenerate behavior and the increase in mental illness. You can just kind of watch it happen. Look back through history, right? When the Romans or when the Nazis and all that stuff wanted to take over, I forget if it's the Nazis. I can't remember exactly who the society was. There was a leader that wanted to distract a bit large group of people. And so what they did was they put porn all over the city and put porn in the magazines, stuff like that. And then so the people became very docile and they became sick and stuff like that, right? So you can trace throughout our history of the advent of TV, social media, video games, porn, the stripping of nutrients from the ground, all these different things, and the increase in mental health and the increase in bad mental health. And I think that this is all by design. There we go. Taking away fathers from the family on purpose, the crack epidemic, making people question what their gender is and all this like stuff, you can trace all this mental illness stuff back to when things just started getting weird and wonky, right? And then it's crazy because tried to feminize men. They're still trying to feminize men. And then they're trying to make women think that they need to be more boss-like. And I'm not saying that either or is bad or good. It's just the facts, right? That you can see all this stuff happening throughout history. Guys start consuming porn more often. They start playing video games. Teenagers get access to the internet at the tip of their fingers. They start to, talk to people more on social media. They spend more time on screens, which actually decreases gray matter in the brain. All these different things. And then slowly but surely, the mental health crisis starts to creep up. And alongside of that comes the pharmaceutical industry, and the money starts going up. Degenerate behavior goes up. That stuff goes up. Culture changes. Culture shifts. I mean, there's so many things that I just think are done by design. So I hope that made sense. And I hope that, well, whatever. This is my channel, right? I want to talk about whatever I want to talk about. From my experience, mental health issues came after years of not understanding why I couldn't do most things that my friends did. 35 years of this. Yeah, I could imagine that. So my depression was, in my opinion, a logical response to not knowing what I had for 12 years and not having enough energy to live the life I had to live. Yeah, I could understand that too. Keto helps seizure kiddos, so it makes sense. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely helps the brain. Right. Yeah, guys, I think a lot of life too is about perspective, right? So like, I talk about this so much, and we've talked about this a lot on the internet, but like people who are depressed, they have a hard time kind of seeing that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And that really sucks. Right. And we've all gone through it. Apparently, on this live, on this channel, we've all gone through it. But what I think is really important, if I ever have like a creep up of those types of symptoms or thoughts or, the loops, I always am able to like, you gotta just, for anyone, right? Like you have to just try to frame your mind in a way that like is positive, that like there is a light at the end of the tunnel, because you've proven to yourself before that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You have felt not depressed before. So if you have done it before, you can feel it again. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it can happen again. And I always say, like, if it's broken, there must be a way to fix it. If it's broken, there must be a way to fix it. And so I know that it's difficult and it's a lot easier said than done, and it takes some training, and it's like not just like something that you can jump into. But I think that the way that you speak as well holds so much weight as to how you feel. And sometimes you can't always control your thoughts, right? But you can control your reactions to your thoughts. That you absolutely can. You might have a quick like, ooh, that didn't feel good. That didn't, whatever. Like a reaction to a quick reaction. But you do have the ability to figure out how you should react to it after that, right? And to dictate how you're going to react after that. So I think, especially when it comes to POTS, right? Mindset and the way that you think about it and the way that you frame your life is so important, because so many people think about what used to be or what I wish I had or what about the future, instead of being in the present moment and being like, what can I do right now? What will help me? What will fit? What can I do now to help the future? They just get so stuck in what if, or I remember when, and what if in the future, instead of just thinking like, okay, this sucks right now. All right, what do I do about it? How do I fix this? Casey, I'm just seeing this. Also, vitamin D. My vitamin D was low. Once I fixed it, I felt so much better. Nothing to do with POTS. Yeah. Yeah, vitamin D is freaking important, dude. If you guys haven't had your vitamin D levels checked, you need to go get that done. There's this book that I recommend everybody. You really said better. There's this book that I recommend that everybody reads. And I think that it could be useful now that I'm really thinking about it for you guys with POTS. And it's called Outwitting the Devil. And basically this book is basically talking about like reaching your full potential as a man, or as not just as a man, but as a human, right? And what keeps you from doing that. And basically the dude has a conversation with the devil, and the devil says, fear is the way that he keeps people from achieving their goals, their dreams, and their potential, their highest potential, right? And it's actually single-handedly, besides How to Win Friends and Influence People, that book really taught me how to, like, I've never been bad at socializing or like talking to people and stuff like that, but it like How to Win Friends and Influence People really shaped the way that I like converse with people and the way that I create relationships. That book had like a big part of my transformation 3-4 years ago. In terms of like my professional life and things of that nature. But Outwitting the Devil was one of the books that like really shifted my perspective on my life and where I need to go and the things that I need to do now. And I think I read it a year ago, something like that. Because at some point in the book, the guy talks to the devil and he says, fear is the thing that keeps man from doing the things that he is supposed to do. And that, it can work for women too. Same thing as women, because the fear always makes you think, what if this goes bad? Or what will people think? Or what if I pass out when I'm going for a hike? Or what if this, what if that? So much so that you just never do it. Right. And, so it's not to say that you will never feel fear, but it's to say that when you feel fear, you should face it head on. And that man always finds his enlightenment and his moment and his purpose and all this stuff. When I say man, guys, please just stay with me. We're talking about everyone, okay? Man always finds his purpose and his groove and all this stuff when they're at like rock bottom. And for POTS, I think that this is like crucial for people with POTS, right? Is that you have nothing to lose, right? You have nothing to lose. Literally, you have zero things to lose, especially if you're bedbound, you're homebound, you're not working or whatever it is. You have nothing to lose. So why don't you try the things? Also, it's not a medical emergency. Most things that you will go through as a person with POTS, as long as you haven't been diagnosed prior to POTS with something else that's, life-threatening, POTS isn't life-threatening, so what do you got to lose? Why don't you just try everything? The reason why is because you're scared. You don't want to face the fear. You don't want to live on the edge of fear, which is part of the book that I'm reading now, which is called The Way of the Superior Man. And in part of that, it says living your life on the edge of fear, understanding where your edge of fear lies and staying there. And, that's where all these people that are like, I'm getting comfortable being uncomfortable, bro. I'm in the gym and I'm pushing hard. And then I take an ice bath. It's like, bro, that's literally nothing about, like, that's not personal development. That's not growth. All these people that are doing ice baths at 7 a.m, like, I love an ice bath, and it does help you it helps you get familiar with uncomfortability. But the real lessons, right, happen when you are able to sit on the edge of your fear and you're able to sit in the discomfort for a very long time and deal with it, right? And so for someone with POTS, what does that mean? That means that I don't want to go to the gym right now because I'm really scared that something's going to happen. I don't want to go on a hike because I'm scared that something's going to happen. Drive your ass to the hike. Drive your ass to the place that you're going to hike and sit there and get out of the car and start walking. And when you're right at your edge, it could be 25 feet forward, 25 feet down the path, 50 feet down the path. When you've hit your edge and you can't do anymore, come back. But you actually hit the edge. You actually experienced it, right? Most people with POTS will just say, no, I'm too uncomfortable. I'm scared that this will happen. So you don't even get to experience the edge. And what happens with that, when you go and experience it, you get more familiar. You get familiar with the feeling of fear and the feeling of this isn't going to kill you. And you get to hang there. And then next time, instead of 50 feet, you do 75 feet. The next time, instead of 75 feet, you do 100 feet. You're getting closer to the edge. And you're getting more familiar with that feeling. And understanding that nothing bad is going to happen to you. You guys get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? I really recommend that book. I really recommend that book. The other side of the coin with this is that a lot of people will read these books and not do anything about it. And then they feel really good about themselves because they read the book. I'm going to tell you one thing. If you're reading a personal development book and you don't do anything from the book, it ain't did shit for you. Getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. I like relaxing my body when I'm in the discomfort. Helps to keep going. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. I think my biggest thing with that whole idea though is that like the uncomfortability is, and getting comfortable with the uncomfortability is built by doing the things that make you uncomfortable. You know, not just pretending that you're doing them. I think a lot of us like tend to convince ourselves that we are living on our edge and we're living in this discomfort. And it's just like, look, discomfort is not like we have it twisted, right? People have it really messed up where they think that discomfort is that point where like you can tolerate it. You know, like I can tolerate this. Like this is fine. It's not very comfortable, but I can tolerate it. That's, again, it's not where the growth comes from, right? It's like with muscle building, for example, you'll get like let's say you're doing bench press and you get to a point where you're like, oh, this is getting really hard. This is getting really hard. Okay, I'm going to rack it. That was a good set. I was 2 reps away from failure. Well, if you never get to that point where you're actually going to hit failure, if you've never actually test the boundary, test the limit, sit at that limit, figure it out, you're never going to get any sort of growth because you just don't know where to go from there. You know, so like some people in their head, let's take the hiking example, they'll do the 25 feet and they're like, all right, I'm good. That was uncomfortable enough. But they know they could have gone 50. Like the growth doesn't happen from there, right? The growth doesn't happen from not going 50 and saying like clapping for yourself. Unfortunately, like, and that's just kind of like, that's just me being real, right? Like you have to do the 50 if you know you can do the 50. If you know you can do the 50 feet and it sucks in every moment of it, your body's screaming at you, your mind is screaming at you, riddled with anxiety, you know, riddled with like, what if this happens? What if this happens? But you hit the 50 feet and then you're like, all right, I'm out. I got to go. You go back to your car and you're like, I lived. I'm okay. I'm good. That's where the growth happens. That's where stuff really starts to transform. Be uncomfortable being miserable, or be uncomfortable pushing yourself to find out that you're fine. Find out? Yes. Yeah, see, exactly. That's, yeah, exactly that. Yeah, it's like, dude, it's exactly that. Like, it's like when people say that thing, the choose your hard thing, right? Like, being obese is hard. Working out is hard. Being married is hard. Divorce is hard. You know, choose your hard. It's the same thing. Choose your hard. Which one would you rather be? Would you rather like be a victim for the rest of your life and not get better? Or do you want to try to do things that are going to make you feel better that are also going to make you feel uncomfortable? You know, like if it's going to make you feel uncomfortable, it's going to suck. Working out's hard. Oh, well, you know, some people can't tolerate it very well and it takes a long time and it's a long mission. Right. It is. So which one would you rather be uncomfortable with, you know? But just to clarify, your body has to respond well. You shouldn't be exhausted for more than a day and get a lot of POTS symptoms, right? This is like a fine line to tote, right? Because it's a fine line to toe because most people with POTS won't push the boundary to the point where they feel that. And I think that in my experience, a lot of times when they say that they have a flare up or they say that something's happening or whatever, um, I don't really know how to say this. I don't know how to say it without like being like kind of kind about it. And I don't know that I really have to be. You shouldn't be exhausted for more than a day and get a lot of POTS symptoms, right? Like it's like you should be tired. You should be tired trying to push your boundaries. But that's not dangerous. And you should get tired trying to push the boundary because you finally figure out where your line is, where the edge is, right? So you need to figure out where that edge is sometimes. More times than not, though, you figure out where the edge is, and the next day or 2 days you're feeling tired, exhausted, or whatever, you just get up and start moving again, and you convince yourself you're fine. Like, more times than not, you are going to be okay. Like, it's going to be fine. And if you feel exhausted, you feel symptomy or whatever, and you get up and start moving again, more times than not, you are going to be okay. If we're speaking specifically about physiological responses, your body needs to make adaptations in those moments anyway. So you need to learn where the edge is and you need to work past the edge sometimes. Not quite past the edge in terms of like, you know, you're like, I mean, POTS isn't dangerous. You know what I mean? So like if you have more symptoms the next day, get up and start working out. Like get up and like get on a recumbent bike, you know, the zone 2 cardio type stuff that I talk about, right? When you have a flare up, go do some form of zone 2 work and just get your blood pumping. Your body eventually is going to make the adaptation. It's going to be like, okay, I'm safe. I'm fine here. It's a nervous system dysfunction. It's not like you're going to break apart, you know? It's not like you're going to break your leg. It's not like you're going to tear your MCL. It's not like you're going to have anything like super severe happen, to be totally real. And I still have yet to see a person with POTS come to me before we start working together that has pushed their boundary and it not be anxiety that's held them back or not be anxiety that's keeping them in bed. I still have yet to see that. And I think, again, this is kind of the part that like doesn't get addressed. And people aren't honest with people with POTS, or if they are honest, they're deemed to be assholes or bad people. Is that like, again, chalking a lot of this up to mental health. Like people like feel exhausted and then they're like, oh my gosh, something is wrong. So they stay in bed and this is a flare up. It's not. Like you worked out and your capacity is just way lower than somebody who's fit and healthy. But this is how you should feel. You know, that's how you should feel. And the way that you get over that is by increasing volume and tolerance over time to exercise. It point blank, period. That's what happens. There's really not like a better way to explain that, you know? It's me, haha. I refuse to mentally give up. I let my body give up. That gives me huge PMS. Yeah, I think, to be honest, dude, I think you gotta just sometimes get up and just start moving. Sounds like you did that. You guys, I'm 12 subscribers away from 1,000 on this channel. 12. 12 subscribers. What the freaking heck? What the freaking heck? Oh. Imam 5, 3 reps. Okay, guys. I've got a little bit of work to do today. Casey, say it. Say it, gangster. I'll stay on just so you can say it. I will stay on. I'm going to update somebody's program real quick, though, while I'm on. So I'll stay on for you to say this. Say it with your chest. There are more downsides from a flare-up, impacts relationships with your loved ones, work, yourself. It is not just one feels bad from the symptoms, but it impacts our direct world. Yeah, I agree with that. However, you guys, look, and I'm not trying to be insensitive, but, and I think that this says a lot about our culture and a lot about, like, we have to be so forgiving and we have to be, like, you know, sympathetic and empathetic towards everybody's situations. But look, the world keeps moving no matter what, you know. And again, I've had this talk and I don't feel like yelling today. That's just me being bare bones honest. I don't feel like yelling, right? But I've known people dying of cancer that have done more work through fatigue and have done more things than people that have these flare-ups with POTS. And I'm not saying that flare-ups aren't real. I'm not trying to invalidate what people are feeling and what they're saying. What I am saying, though, is that a majority of what I've seen with these flare-ups, so to say, is not any sort of actual physiological response that cannot be pushed through or dealt with. A lot of what it is the mental portion of it. And if you talk to if you join the forum and you talk to a bunch of my clients and how we handle their flare-ups and stuff, they'll tell you, they'll give you the honest truth. The ones who have been able, like Casey right now, like read the comment right there. But a lot of them will tell you that they realize that their flare-ups and stuff were excuses why you can or can't do things. Like Casey's saying, at the end of the day, you can keep coming up with reasons why you can't, or you can quit, make excuses and just do it. And the majority of times, flare-ups aren't really physiological responses. They're like, again, if we look at literature, I think one of the biggest problems here is that, oh my gosh. One of the biggest problems here is that the POTS community is riddled with victimhood mindset. It's the same thing with people with depression and anxiety. Victimhood mindset, right? The thing that pulled me out of depression, anxiety, all this stuff was taking responsibility for my freaking life and understanding that you're depressed because you are the problem. No one else is the problem. The way that people interact with you, or the things that they say, or the trauma that you went through as a child, your dad left you, all these things happened to you. That all happened and it sucks. You can't control that, but you're the problem. You are the problem. You're the one who's deciding not to deal with it the way that you need to deal with it. You're the one who's deciding to stop moving. You have decided to stop moving in a positive direction because you're going to blame this shit on trauma. You're going to blame your lack of movement, momentum, and progress because of trauma, because of other people. That's what you're going to blame your life on. The thing that you get to experience one time, you're going to blame it on other people. How pathetic. And that was literally the conversation that I have had with myself. I've actually had this conversation with myself. The problem is that the world culture wants you to be empathetic, and they want you to be, quite frankly, they want you to be pussies, and they want you to be fed into the pussy behavior, right? When I talk to guys and they tell me about their problems, sometimes I'll literally just say, stop being a pussy, dude. Stop being a pussy. Like, stand up and take control over your life. What are you doing? Why are you acting like this? But the thing is that everybody needs to be empathetic and sympathetic towards everyone's situations instead of being real. And it's uncomfortable. Those conversations are uncomfortable. Me yelling at you right now on this is probably making you feel uncomfortable. Not you, Betty. Just in general, the people who are watching this probably makes you feel uncomfortable because you feel some sort of truth to it, right? If you feel uncomfortable based off of some shit that somebody else is saying, it's because you feel some sort of truth to it and you can't handle it. It has nothing to do with me, has nothing to do with so-and-so. It has everything to do with you. You're the problem. So, flare-ups, a lot of times it's not an actual physiological response. Look at the freaking data. People want to be victims, dude. It just is what it is. People want a reason to feel like shit. They always do. People want a reason to blame all their shit on in life. I'm broke because I'm sick. I'm broke because I can't find a job that pays $20 an hour. I'm broke because dude, you're broke because your ass doesn't have any skills. You're broke because your ass is lazy. You're broke because when you come home from work, from your crappy job that doesn't pay you nothing, you hop on Netflix because I'm too tired to do anything else and I want time to spend with my friends and life's not fair and it's about balance. You pussy. You pussy. Wake up. Wake up, dude. You have one life and you're making so many excuses. Same thing goes for POTS, dude. I really didn't want to yell today. Same thing goes for POTS. You have one life. You have one life. You're going to let it be ruined by something that is not life-threatening? You have one life. You're going to let it be ruined by something that is not life-threatening. It's uncomfortable and it sucks a bag of dicks. But you're not going to live your life because of that? Like, you're not going to die. You're not going to die. So why don't you live your life? Why don't you do everything possible? Like, it blows my mind when people are like, and look, this is another thing that I can attest to. It blows my mind when people are like, your coaching is so expensive. It's $250 a month. So what would you, $250 for my top tier? I just put it out there online, right? $175 for the lower tier. So what would you rather do? You'd rather sulk instead of, and feel like shit and not do anything about it because you're too lazy to put the plan together. You're too lazy to watch Justin's videos and put the plan together for yourself. You're too lazy to do all that when I've given all the free information out. So you'd rather just not do anything about it. You'd rather just not do anything about it. Or you can do the $50 track, stick to it, find improvements, read all the shit that I put out there, but you'd rather not find a way to get $50 a month to pay for something that is going to help you? No, because you're too lazy, and too many people want a reason to say, honey, I'm sorry I can't provide for you. I'm sick. No, you pussy, you're lazy. No, you pussy, you're not being a man. You're not figuring it out. Be a man, figure it out. You know, you like the time is now. The time, it all ends now, for real. It all ends now. Where I'm nice about this stuff, okay? It ends now. I try to be empathetic. I try to be sympathetic. I understand this stuff sucks. It all sucks. Dude, you have one life. You have one life. You're going to waste it away because of anxiety and stuff over what might happen because you have POTS syndrome. You're going to waste it away because you might get pre-syncope trying to work out. You're going to waste it away because you have heavy breathing, stuff that literally is not going to kill you. Like, it's not going to kill you. Look up the deaths because of POTS syndrome. There's databases where you can look up how many deaths per illness. Go look it up. It's uncomfortable. It sucks. But so many people want to sit there and be like, have a reason for everything, bro. Have a reason for everything. Stop it. Just stop. Stop. The whole point that I'm saying, that I'm trying to make is, for the most part, flare-ups are not biological, physiological, dangerous responses to anything that's happened. It sucks. It may be uncomfortable. More times than not, it's, I'm feeling really tired. Now I'm anxious that I did something wrong to myself, so I'm going to take it easy today. I'm going to cool off. Uh-oh, I have a migraine today. Blah, blah, blah. Like, all these freaking things that, oh my gosh, dude, just all these things that everyone can say to have a reason to not do the work. And trust me, dude, I've had people with terrible, terrible symptoms that don't give up, that aren't pussies, that are bedbound, that literally had not left their bed in like months except to shower, had to sit down to shower, couldn't walk around, and they didn't make any excuses, got up, did the work, and went back to work. Dude, most of the people with POTS aren't that bad. Most of you people with POTS are not in that position. It's not a large amount of that population that are dealing with symptoms that bad. But y'all act like you are. What the frick? I didn't even know what this was when I got it. I had no idea. No one knew anything about it. No one. I was scared every day. But I didn't let it control me. I didn't let it be an excuse for why I couldn't provide for my son and my girlfriend at the time. I didn't let it be an excuse for anything. I just went about life. Hey, I got to get stuff done. I have to keep doing things. The world's going to keep moving. Milk's going to get more expensive. My kid needs diapers. And it just did it. You just do the things you're supposed to do. I don't know why that's so hard for so many people to grasp. Like I said, I've seen people dying of cancer. Like a real terminal illness. Work harder and do the things necessary. So what's your excuse? What are your people's excuses? What are your guys' excuses? I'm going to tell this story and then I'm going to get off. There was this guy who I have the utmost respect for. He started having all these weird symptoms. It was like 8 years ago that I knew. It was like 8 years ago. He got all these weird symptoms, and he got brain scans, and he got all the workups. This dude, he was a friend of mine, kind of a friend of mine, right? I would say friend. He was in the gym with us. I saw him almost every day. He got diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer. Diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer. Was given 6 months to live. 6 months to live. And he was super into fitness, super into CrossFit, all this stuff. Do you know what this bad mother effer did? He said, I ain't playing that shit. I ain't playing that shit. Stage 4 brain cancer. Given 6 months to live. continued doing the things that he knew he needed to do. Went through chemo. At some point, he was in a freaking wheelchair going to the gym, bro. He lived 4 years past his prognosis. He was a man of God. He shifted his mindset, all this stuff. And you guys have POTS syndrome. This dude was going through chemo. This dude was losing a ton of weight, putting on a ton of weight. His body was going through turmoil. He lost his balance. He still deadlifted like over 400, 500 pounds. You guys have POTS syndrome, dude. What's your excuse? This dude had freaking 6 months to live. Brain cancer, dude. Terminal brain cancer. Lived for 4 years with that prognosis, that diagnosis. And still did everything that he was supposed to do. He still went to work. There was times where he couldn't work, for sure. But this is brain cancer we're talking about. He still went to work. He still showed up to the gym damn near every single day. And eventually he lost the battle, but he didn't stop fighting. He didn't make excuses, dude. Dude, what the frick? I can't, dude. I can't do it. I can't do it. You know, Casey, your comment fired me up, dude. Your comment fired me up. I can't do it, bro. I grew up in such like crazy circumstances, right? I just don't have time. Like, I'm not on that time. I'm not on the time for victim mindset and all that. Like, I just don't have it in me. I can't do it anymore. Even with some of my clients, I tell them, look, if you're not going to listen, if you're not going to try to shift the mindset, like, yo, we're probably not a good fit. You know, I legitimately, I feel this way for real. I feel that way for real. I don't have time to waste. I don't have time to waste. If you're going to waste my time, don't waste my freaking time, dude. Get out of here. Like, we don't need to work together. I don't need your money like that. You know what I mean? I don't need your money like that. So get out of here. You know, and it's crazy. It's just crazy to me, right? Like, dude, so many excuses. People just have so many excuses, bro. So many excuses. I grew up broker than a joke. My dad left at one point for a long time. I found out that I had a sister when she was 3 years old in Mexico. I remember specifically going home, right? Going home and the electricity being turned off a few times throughout high school. I remember not knowing how I was going to get food because there was no food in the refrigerator. I remember eating Kraft Singles for dinner. I remember having to make money in some not so legal ways so that I could go to McDonald's because my mom didn't even have enough money to go to McDonald's. I remember my mom hustling 2 jobs just to pay the bills. I remember having to go get a job as a teenager. I've been working since I was like 12, bro. Like, dude, the excuses make me so upset. The victim mindset makes me so upset. I don't have time for it, dude. I don't have time for it. Look, male or woman, male or female, if something is impacting your relationships, take a look inside. Take a look inside. You know, I don't want to go too deep with that. If something is impacting the way that you're living your life, take a look inside. Are you doing everything? Are you doing everything that you're supposed to do? Likely it's not. Likely you're not. I'm not a millionaire yet. Do you want to know why? Because I'm not doing everything that I need to do to become a millionaire. I mean, it's plain and simple. I am trying to get there. I'm trying to do all the things that I need to do, but I'm not. You know, like, but so many people don't want to be honest with themselves. Like, you just don't want to have that conversation. It's sad. People just don't want to take accountability for their situation, you know? Are you responsible? Are you reasonably upset or a little more than that? It's other people's lives, sir. You are fired up. The reason why I'm fired up is because I care about people. Dude, I genuinely care about people and I want everyone to experience a good life. And that's just something about me like I've had to separate myself from friends because I just see that they're not living their potential. They're not living in the way that they say that they want to, and they make excuses and all this. I've had to literally separate myself because I can get mad and people can get upset because I'm honest. And so I'm honest because I love people, because I want you to live life fully, and I want you to do the things that you say you're going to do, especially if you're a man. I hold you to a different standard, right? I want you to do the things that you say you're going to do because I know what kind of potential you have. And it is my belief inside of every single person, we have untapped potential. Everyone has the ability to live an amazing life, to do amazing things, and to give their gift to the world. But so many people won't. And that's upsetting to me. You know, I love people. I see potential in everybody that I come across. I meet 14-year-olds because I train a bunch of like performance athletes, right? I meet 14-year-olds that I'm so impressed with. And then I watch them grow up sometimes like, oh, damn it. What happened? You know, I don't know, man. I don't know. I know it's other people's lives. And this is a flaw of mine. And I am not at all oblivious to it. It's a flaw of mine that I get fired up and that I can't let it go sometimes. It's a flaw for sure. I've had talks with other friends about it, and even my girlfriend about it. It's a flaw of mine. Like I care more about other people's success sometimes than they care about their own. And I don't know if that will ever change about me. I don't know if it will ever change, but I know it's a flaw, and it's definitely something that I got to work on, but it is what it is. It's part of my nature. Also, I want you guys to know that sometimes when I go off on these tangents, it's not just me talking to you. It's also me talking to me. Like, again, one of my goals is to be very, very financial. Like I have a certain monetary goal by a certain time in life, right? And that requires me being real with myself too, saying, hey, you're being a pussy. Why aren't you working harder? Hey, you haven't done enough of this. Why don't you do more? Hey, why are you slacking on this? Like a lot of stuff like that requires real honesty, and if anything, that's something that I've really worked on in my life. So anyway, that's very sweet, actually. Thanks, Suzanne. I don't know if it's sweet or if it's just like a problem. Anyways, I got to go, guys. I got other stuff to do. I'm sorry for screaming at you guys for like 20 minutes or 15 minutes, however long that lasted. But again, in my feelings, the things that I feel. I had a similar issue. I had the belief that everyone should do well and enjoy their life. My therapist said people have the right to not work on themselves. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. We also, though, reserve the right to feel our feelings about it, right? Although maybe not super productive, as long as it doesn't control a portion of your life. I think that there's no flaw. Also, it makes for good entertainment, right? It makes for decent entertainment. Angela Burns, thanks, Justin. Enjoying your live chats. I left all POTS groups months ago as they just go over the same things again and again and don't seem to want to get better. I'm off to start my day. Good luck, Angela. Have fun. I think that you are down under. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. If you did enjoy this, please hit that like button if you haven't already. Please subscribe if you are new. We are 12 subscribers freaking away from 1,000. Holy nuts. I didn't know. I think that we can do this before the end of June, which would be, I think that was my goal. I think my goal was by the end of June or within June, before July. I think that was my goal. So hopefully we can do this. Hopefully we can get more subscribers. If you guys wouldn't mind, if you would be so kind as to share it on forums or Reddit threads, wherever you guys are at, if you guys are on any of that stuff, or if you want to stay off of that because it's going to be too negative for you, stay off of it. I don't care. But anyway, anything helps. Liking it helps. Subscribing helps. Telling your friends that maybe could find this useful. If anybody clips videos, feel free to clip these lives. Anyways, thanks so much, guys. Thanks for hanging out. I will see you guys in the next one tomorrow. Peace out. Goodbye.